Madison Police Chief Mike Koval is now speaking, and we'll go to him live. He is at the West Precinct District Headquarters.
With mourning, with grief, with a sense of loss. As a man who has two adult sons myself, I couldn't even begin to quantify the magnitude or the scope of what the Robinson family has been through. And to their credit, as this difficult journey began with their admonishment to the community to move forward in a constructive way with responsibility and restraint, as the decision has reached its summit today through the DA's office, they have continued to urge the community to be civically engaged, to voice that dissent, but to do it in a manner that does not fracture our city in moving forward and addressing a lot of the long-term needs that we have. I want to thank the time and the effort and the deliberative process that the district attorney took to take those extraordinary measures to ensure that a thoroughly vetted investigation was looked at copiously. I understand there are literally hundreds of documents that are in the process of being downloaded, so I really can't even begin to go into the content of those specifics, but I know full well that as a constitutional officer of the court, the district attorney takes his role extremely seriously, and I also would suggest that owing to an independent law that was established a year ago, the Department of Criminal Investigation by the State of Wisconsin Department of Justice, or otherwise known as DCI, through an awful lot of resources over an extended period of time to provide a voluminous, comprehensive report for the district attorney's attention. And for that, we're grateful for their work on this matter. I would be remiss if I hadn't said that going back to the Ferguson incidents and what that community was dealing with months ago, there was a small but dedicated group of folks of us who were coming from a cross spectrum of both law enforcement as well as not-for-profits, as far as clergy, as far as groups like the NAACP, Urban League of Madison, and a whole consortium of other interested people. And to the community's credit, our dialogue began well before March 6th, as we're striving to look at ways in which our role in the racial disparities issues that have been so chronicled for our community, how our role can be better understood and how systems improvements can be brought to bear. Well, of course, then with the events of March 6th, with the Robinson death, that sort of gave this group a renewed sense of alacrity and urgency, knowing full well that the expectations for our community moving forward were going to be ever so heightened. And with that sense of purpose and mission, I think that the group has done a great job in terms of preparing for this day, only insofar as the discussions have been robust, they've been lengthy, they've been committed, and they've been productive. And so from that standpoint, I think as you get to know one another better as people and not just as leaders of various groups, that the net gain for that is a greater sense of understanding and a greater sense that we can extend hands across the table and find some systems improvements that are workable. That is our hope. And so obviously, as a police chief who's been all too familiar with narratives that have been written in other communities, I'm hoping for a different sort of outcome from our community in the days to come. And I'm confident that those outcomes can be more constructive, given the fact that we have had the dialogue and we have had constructive engagement, and we are committed to listening to those concerns, not just for the police, but I think at the end of the day, our issues in Madison go well beyond an incident that occurred on March 6th. Our issues of pronounced poverty and joblessness and an educational system that's not benefiting all of our kids. There are such a host of issues of which the police cannot address single-handedly.
That is Madison Police Chief Mike Koval expressing the shared grief and sadness in the community of Madison over the loss of Tony Robinson. And he said, you know, this is not Ferguson, this is not Baltimore, and yet he is expressing and acknowledging the serious racial disparity problems we have in our community that we need to address and work on.
Hands have to be extended to help solve this.
That's right. And once again, he gave a lot of credit and respect to Tony Robinson's family for stepping up and urging that things remain calm and peaceful.